Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 1, Text 6. Rishayah Uchuhu Tvaya Khalu Puranani Sa Itihasani Cha Anagha Akhyatani Api Adhitani Dharmashastrani Yani Uta Rishaya Uchuhu Tvaya Khalu Puranani Seti Hasani Chanagha Akhyatani Adhitani Dharmashastrani Yanyuta Rishaya Uchuhu Tvaya Khalu Puranani Seti Hasani Chanagha Akhyatani api adhitani Dharmashastrani Yanyuta Rishaya Uchuhu Tvaya Khalu Puranani Seti Hasani Chanagha Akhyatani apyadhitani Dharmashastrani Yanyuta Rishaya Uvacha Uchuhu No, Uchu Wait 1 second Read Rishaya Uchuhu Tvaya Khalu Puranani Seti Hasani Chanagha Akhyatani api adhitani Dharmashastrani Yanyuta Rishaya Uchuhu Tvaya Khalu Puranani Seti Hasani Chanagha Akhyatani api adhitani Dharmashastrani Yanyuta
Rishaya
Uchuhu
Tvaya
Khalu Puranani
Seti Hasani Chanagha
Akhyatani apyadhitani Dharmashastrani Yanyuta Rishayah The sages Uchuhu said Tvaya by you Khalu undoubtedly Puranani the supplements to the Vedas with illustrative narrations Sa itihasani along with the histories Cha and
and
anagha,
anagha,
freed from all vices,
freed from all vices,
akhyatani,
akhyatani,
explained,
explained,
api,
api,
although, adhitani,
adhitani,
well read,
well read,
dharma shastrani,
dharma shastrani,
scriptures giving right directions
scriptures giving right directions
to progressive life,
to progressive life,
yani,
yani,
all these,
all these,
uta,
Uta
said.
said.
Translation: the sages said, respected Suta Goswami, you are completely free from all vice. You are well versed in all the scriptures famous for religious life, and in the Puranas and the histories as well. For you have gone through them under proper guidance and have also explained them. Purport: a Goswami or the bona fide representative of Sri Vyasadeva must be free from all kinds of vices. The four major vices of Kali Yuga are: 1. Illicit connection with women, 2. Animal slaughter, 3. Intoxication, 4. Speculative gambling of all sorts. A Goswami must be free from all these vices before he can dare sit on the Vyasasana. No one should be allowed to sit on the Vyasasana who is not spotless in character and who is not freed from the above mentioned vices. He not only should be free from all such vices, but must also be well versed in all revealed scriptures or in the Vedas. The Puranas are also parts of the Vedas, and histories like the Mahabharata or Ramayana are also parts of the Vedas. The Acharya or the Goswami must be well acquainted with all these literatures. To hear and explain them is more important than reading them. One can assimilate the knowledge of the revealed scriptures only by hearing and explaining. Hearing is called Shravana, and explaining is called Kirtan. The two processes, Shravan and Kirtan, are of primary importance to progressive spiritual life. Only one who has properly grasped the transcendental knowledge from the right source by submissive hearing can properly explain the subject. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Rishaya Uchuhu Tvaya Khalu Puranani Setihasani Chanagha Akhyatani Api Adhitani Dharmashastrani Yanyuta. The sages said, respected Suta Goswami, you are completely free from all vice. You are well versed in all the scriptures, famous for religious life, and in the Puranas and the histories as well. For you have gone through them under proper guidance and have also explained them. This is text 6. The text just before this, it's explained that, you can say beginning of the narration of Bhagavatam, that after finishing the morning duties, by burning a sacrificial fire and offering a seat to Suta Goswami, the great sages made inquiries. So they, among them, chose Suta Goswami and gave him an elevated seat, meaning that he will address them. And then they began to inquire. So this particular verse here, it says, why did they choose Suta Goswami? You are completely free from all vice. You are well versed in all scriptures of religious life, because there are different scriptures. But Dharma Shastrani, but religious life, we are concerned with the religious aspect. So you are well versed in the Dharma Shastras and Puranas, Itihasani, in the Setihasani Chanaka, Puranani, you are versed in the Puranas and histories. So because of that, they accepted Suta Goswami and they gave him an elevated seat to speak. So this is known as Vyasasana. Vyasasana is where the speaker will sit. That's called Vyasasana. And it's called that because it's going to be the place where the person speaks on Vedic knowledge. He discourses on Vedic knowledge. So that Vedic knowledge originally was compiled by Vyasadeva. Compiled, it's not from him. Some people think, like our Western scholars, that Vyasadeva wrote all the Vedas, or someone else wrote it. They say Vyas wrote it. No, Vedas are always present, but Vyasadeva compiled them. He divided them into four for Kali. People of Kali Yuga, it's very hard for them to assimilate that Vedic knowledge. So he divided them, therefore he's known as Vyas. Vyas means to divide. There's a Vyas at the beginning of every Kali Yuga who will divide the Vedas. And after dividing them, he gave them in different paramparas, which are still there. Yajurveda, I know one Yajurvedi. I know two Yajurvedis coming in that parampara. But of course, due to influence of Kali, they're not doing that duty. Yajurvedis, Samavedis, Rigvedis, and Atharvavedis. And some of them, those are the paramparas. Then it came to be that those who knew the Vedas were known as Vedi, or Dvivedi, Trivedi, Chaturvedi, who knew the Vedas. Those who studied and understood them. So, because Vyas, he compiled the Vedas and then distributed them, we are grateful to him. Actually, he's in our parampara. And so we refer to it, when anyone is speaking on Veda, we are representing Vyas. Vyas, he compiled the Vedas with the aim to preserve and propagate them properly in human society for benefit. Without knowledge of Veda, then we'll be engaged in Vikarma, contrary, activities contrary to Vedic knowledge. And also, we'll not advance, because the Vedas contain sacrifices saying how we should live in such a way as to purify ourselves. Human life with Vedic knowledge, culture, and practicing that is progressive life. Progressive because every second, every day I'm going towards liberation. But I do some yajna, I chant the mantra, some purification, even if I'm not doing bhakti. Best is to do bhakti. That is very fast way. But within Vedic culture we remain pure and we go towards purity, sattvic, and to transcendence gradually. We have proper idea of this world and we are living in harmony with the creation, purpose of creation, and we are able to gradually advance and be purified day by day. But human life, without understanding that, that's like dead life. It's dead body. Jati Shastra Japastapa Bhagavad Bhakti Hinasya Jati Shastra Japastapa Apranayasya Dehasya Mandanam Loka Ranjanam. So it is said that one who doesn't have bhakti, Bhagavad Bhakti Hinasya Jati Shastra Japastapa. Then if he has good birth, Jati Shastra, or he knows so much Shastra, or Japa, he does Japa, Tapa, or he does so much austerity. Mandanam Lokaranjanam, Apranayasya Dehasya. Then it's like that actually he is a dead person. You think I'm alive, I'm walking, I'm living, I'm earning, I'm eating, but you're a dead person because no bhakti, no advancement. What is the purpose of your life? What are we living for? Apranayasya Dehasya Mandanam Lokaranjanam. It's like decorations on a dead body. Someone may be very well dressed, then someone appreciates, well dressed, jewels, tilak, but on a dead body, then what's the point? What's the point? Dressing a dead body, putting jewels, it's a dead body. So similarly, whatever qualities we can think, but if there's no bhakti, apranayasya dehasya, it's like decorations on a dead body. And mandanam lokaranjanam, just like the dead body, sometimes someone dies, they dress him up and take him on the street, and some people may think, he's dressed up nicely, he's looking good. They know he's dead, but some they're appreciating. So who will that be? Lokaranjanam, the worldly people who don't have any sense, they'll think like that. But one who is, similarly, one who does not have bhakti, but he has all good qualities, then people who are less intelligent, worldly people will glorify them. That, such a person he's educated, he's born in a high family, he knows Shastra, so many things, but he does not know about Bhagavad Bhakti, then actually he's a dead body. But worldly people only will appreciate. Mandanam, Lokaranjanam. Worldly people get attracted by that. So Vyasadeva wanted that society, that the Vedic knowledge be propagated and the purpose of human society should be fulfilled. So they should maintain the Vedic principles. So he compiled them and did so much to preserve them and propagate them in society. Because Vyasa originally, in the beginning of Kali Yuga, he compiled the Vedas, and through him and his mercy, we got them. So anyone propagating Vedic knowledge, he is taking position of Vyasa. He is taking that position. So if someone is sitting on a Vyasa, if someone is sitting to speak, we refer to that as Vyasasana. And just like here with Suta Goswami, it says here that he was given offering a seat of esteem. So that here, Sutam asinam praprachahu kritam sutam asinam praprachu satkritam. With esteem, he was offered a seat. So the Vyasa asana will be an elevated seat because the person is representing Vyasa. So out of respect for that, it's not that person. The same person, if he doesn't represent Vyasa, no value. It's not his qualification. His qualification is repeating Vyasadev's teachings. If he's not, then there is no credit there. But if he's representing, then that is the importance. So from the Vyasasana, then he will speak. And so, anyone teaching the Vedas is representative of Vyasa. And therefore, the person should be like Vyasa and should be speaking from authority of Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva spoke from the Vedas, wrote down the Veda, glorified the Veda, propagated Veda, nothing of his own mind. And so the person representing Vyasa must do the same thing. He is on the Vyasasana, he is coming to speak knowledge of Veda, which Vyasadeva wrote. So he should be saying, he should be speaking from the Vedas. He cannot be quoting his own mind. Of course, as Srila Prabhupada did, sometimes we may quote things out of our main Vedic texts if it is supporting the Vedic conclusion. Prabhupada would quote even some Western philosopher. He'd quote sometimes the Bible or some other source which is in connection, Chanakya Pandit. If it's in line with the teaching, he'll say that this is saying that. But generally speaking, the theme, the conclusion of whatever we're speaking should be Vedic. Because we are meant to be living the Veda, propagating, learning, absorbing the Veda, the Vedic knowledge. So the person should be representing Vyasa. Just like a salesman will come, a salesman is representing his company. If he does something wrong, immediately you'll phone the company. This is what happened. And they'll also be implicated. It's their representative. So, and not only that, but the salesman, he should be speaking what the company told him, not something different. If he's coming to sell the product, he said, okay, but that product is better. I'm selling that, they're paying me, but you better take that one. That's not, proper. Maybe it's good for us, but he's not doing his duty. We can understand that. So if someone is coming and he's speaking something out of Veda, something different conclusion, this is not a representative of Vyasa. He should not be speaking. He should not have taken the seat to speak. What does Veda say about society? What does Veda say about how economics should be? What does Veda say about the goal of life? The duties of man, varnas, duties of women. Whatever Veda says, we are meant to emulate that. There may be a time when that is not done. That would be in emergency cases. Sometimes Vedic principles are not followed in emergency. There are different rules for emergency. That's exception. Exception cannot become the rule. That's not. But in the exceptional cases, and then everything comes back. Even it's given in Shastra that if a Brahmana cannot follow his varna, he may take the vritti of a Kshatriya or Vaishya, but not Shudra, not working for someone. A Brahmana does not work for anyone. then he loses that caste. So same with a Kshatriya. Kshatriya can also do different vrittis. And Grihasthas. One rule is, for example, Grihasthas never accept charity. They'll never accept. It's dharma. And so the person speaking should represent Vyas, should be speaking on that principle and propagating that. And if it's he's not doing so, then that is not that is a disqualification. I mentioned about the salesperson, how he's representing everything. But not only that, for example, you have an idea of ambassador of a country. Every country has an ambassador, someone who he sends to another country, who will speak on behalf of the country. He will communicate issues, and if someone wants a visa, they'll go to that embassy and they will issue it. They're representatives of their country. So they should be representing the position properly. And sometimes they don't do that, or they misbehave and they're recalled. It's called recalling. The diplomats are recalled. They're back to their country because they're not representing. They have to represent their country. So that representation is important in every aspect. A representative of Vyas should be like Vyas, should speak on the topics of Vyas. Behavior should be like Vyasa. Vyasadeva, for example, Vyasadeva was a devotee. He wrote all the Vedas, but finally he wrote Bhagavatam. In Bhagavatam he glorified Krishna directly, opening verse. And he glorified Krishna in the first verse and gave a his deep understanding. Deep understanding of Krishna means the person is a devotee. Otherwise, Krishna doesn't reveal knowledge to a non-devotee. So Vyas was a devotee. So one should be a devotee of God. Otherwise, how will you understand the Vedas? Vedas come from Krishna. It's his knowledge. To know the Vedas properly, for it to be revealed, we have to be dedicated to Bhagavan, Vishnu, and his representative Guru. Shabde pare cha nishnatam. We should have taken shelter of the Veda and Bhagavan properly. So for the knowledge to be revealed, that's it. Yasya deve parabhakti tasya hi katitartha prakashanti mahatmana. Yasya deva parabhakti yatha deve tatha guru tasya hi katitartha prakashanti mahatmana. One who has implicit faith in the Guru and Bhagavan, to him the Vedas are revealed. Prakashita. Tasya hi katitartha prakashante mahatmana. The import, the knowledge of Veda is revealed to a person who has faith in and has taken shelter of the Guru and Bhagavan. So the fact that Vyasadeva wrote the Vedas in such a lucid way, properly explaining everything, is that he was a devotee. He understood the Vedas, he explained them. So the person who is representing Vyas must be a devotee. How can you speak on the Vedas if we are not devotee? We don't know Vishnu. Ved Narayan Sakshat. The Veda is directly Narayan. That's it. Another thing about Vyasadeva, he was self-controlled, austere, and religious. He was self-controlled, not a gross sense enjoyer. Vyasa, the one representing, here in the purport it's written, a Goswami, a bona fide representative of Vyasa, Goswami. Goswami should be self-controlled. Goswami should be learned in Shastra. He should be religious. Astikyam, it's a duty of a Brahmana. Astikyam, Brahma Karma Svabhavaja. The Brahmana should be religious. Religious means we are living life according to God, following his edicts, not according to us or some other political party or some culture. No, following God. What does Bhagavan say? And he'll say through his Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. So someone speaking on Veda should be devotee. We can't get knowledge from an atheist. We can't get knowledge from a non-Vaishnava. We can't get knowledge from a Gnostic, atheist, Jnani, Karmi. Actually, only a devotee knows knowledge. He can speak. We can get some knowledge from them, other people. Actually, we study some text of Shankara and followers because they give some knowledge. Once I saw a book written, Shankara was writing about temple ritual, something like that. It said that the cow is sacred. The most sacred part of the cow is the back part. That when the deity darshan opens, they see the back of the cow. So someone may say, no, why? That is insulting. We should put the front of the cow. And there it's written, no, it's the back of the cow because Lakshmi resides there because the stool comes from there and Lakshmi resides in the stool of the cow. So good knowledge we can take. That knowledge we can take. But knowledge, Gyan, actually if you study Gyan means knowing about Vishnu. And who will know? Only a devotee. So Vyasa, one on the Vyasasana must be a devotee, must be self-controlled. A gross sense enjoyer knowledge cannot manifest to him. If the intelligence is engrossed in how I'll enjoy, how I will increase my material possessions, material desire, Gyan cannot manifest. And this is one reason why, finally, unless someone is exceptionally inclined, generally at the end one has to take sannyas or vanaprastha from grihastha ashram, because Chanakya Pandit said in one of his verses in this book we are actually selling, that Gyan cannot manifest in one in that position, grihastha ashram, who is living with a woman. There are exceptions, some are very detached. It's not that the problem is that ashram, the problem is that environment. So both of them can advance faster without each other. So therefore one should be self-controlled, austere, religious, and basically Goswami. Goswami means one who controls the senses. So, and the Prabhupada gives the nature of a Goswami here. A Goswami or bona fide representative of Vyas must be free from all kind of vices, no bad habits, no sinful life. What are the vices? 4 major vices of Kali Yuga. Number 1, illicit connection with women. 2, animal slaughter. 3, intoxication. 4, speculative gambling of all sorts. Now let's look at it. First, vice is illicit connection with women. What does that mean? It has deeper meaning. Not simply having some intimate connection with a woman out of marriage, but actually any form of sense gratification involving women, not for purpose of procreation. So illicit connection also means, first of all, in marriage, only associating with the women to produce a child. Otherwise, in the Vedic system, they'll not be together whole day like now. They'll not even sleep in the same room, what to speak of same bed. They'll be separate completely and only to produce children. They'll come together. So that is within marriage. Out of marriage, definitely no question of associating with women. But illicit connection also means hearing, enjoying by hearing. That means for pleasure we hear women singing, or seeing any form of connection. Online also. That was not there at that time, but we had to say that here. I'm not associating, it's online. Only an online association, that's also illicit. Illicit means not legal, not according to the accepted norm. So that is illicit connection. Animal slaughter, killing animals. We don't have the right to do that. We didn't give that life. If one kills animal, that is, and of course eating meat. If you don't kill, he killed, I'm just eating, that's also sinful. Intoxication is sinful. Intoxication makes, we are anyway bewildered by Maya, and we take intoxication, we become more bewildered. It's abuse of the body. We are given a body, senses for a particular purpose. Intoxication, we are trying to derive some benefit, but that is misuse of the human form. It's sinful. The senses. Speculative gambling, that is cheating of some kind. Gambling, it involves cheating. So these are vices which a Goswami should be free from. Not only Goswami, but somebody who wants to live a pure, clean life and advance in bhakti, sinless life must follow this. Human civilization begins with these 4 principles. Human life begins. It's not that these are spiritual things. If we follow, we are spiritual, but we can be put in a position where we are ready to advance effectively. Otherwise, it's not possible to advance. Because these 4 things bind us to material nature very strongly. When we do any of these 4, particularly illicit connection with women, it binds us to the material nature so much that we are not able to understand, we are not able to come up and get deep understanding, which the Vedas are giving. Each of these 4 upholds principles which are pillars of religion. For example, illicit connection with women upholds the principle of cleanliness. Cleanliness, external and internal. By illicit connection with women, the heart becomes dirty, a dirty heart. Cannot think about God. Dirty inside and dirty outside, bodily. Both are a result of illicit connection with women. 2, animal slaughter. It destroys the quality of mercy, compassion. And intoxication destroys self-control and austerity. Speculative gambling destroys truth. And so the 4 pillars of religion, which are cleanliness, mercy, truth, and austerity, these 4 principles are the pillars of religion, and they are broken by these 4 vices. So there is no question of religious practice if someone is eating meat. There may be some ephemeral beginning level of religion, but actual religion means to know God and love God. You cannot go to God if I'm going to God and speaking, God, please accept me, God, accept me, and then on my mouth and on my hands are blood of another creature. Then how can we are coming to God, the Father, Aham bija pradapita. We are coming to the Father with the blood of His children on our hands. And then we are saying, accept me, give me mercy. That's not possible. So 4 pillars of religion have to be maintained. So therefore Goswami, the representative of Vyas, should be free from these 4 vices. Not only Goswami, anybody who wants to practice religious life. We should all become Goswamis. Why not? Why? Goswami, the sadhu, he's like that. I can live like this. Sadhu has to be free from vices. Or the brahmachari has to be pure, the sannyasi, and I can do anything. No, everyone should become pure. The Vedas are meant for that, finally. So, these are qualities. It says here also that the sadhu, the Goswami, must also know Shastra. He must know Shastra. Otherwise, what will he speak? He sat down to speak. He doesn't read Gita. He doesn't read Bhagavatam. Doesn't read Mahabharata. He doesn't know that. Then what will you speak? We'll speak your mind. Who cares about your mind? Your opinion, my experiment with truth. 7 spiritual laws of successful people. In whose opinion? Your opinion. We don't want to know his opinion because the mind, our mind is in Maya, basically. It's a residence of Maya. Bhagavad Gita says, Indriyanamano buddhir asya adhishthanam uchyate. Adhishthanam, the place of Maya is the mind, senses, intelligence. With that Maya mind, you're going to give knowledge. No, you will speak Maya. With that mind in Maya. So Goswami should know the Veda and speak from Veda. And even if he doesn't have realization, if he's speaking from Veda, great. Because he is propagating Vedic principles. This is a sadhu. And even if he doesn't, if he has realization, which comes from speaking Vedic truths and presenting it, automatically realization comes. But if he doesn't have, even if he repeats, that's great, glorious personality. Simply repeating. So the Goswami, if he doesn't know Veda and he doesn't present Veda, then this is Maya, and he cannot be taken as a Goswami. He cannot be taken as a sadhu. Sadhu is known as a sadhu because he's following Veda. Someone comes before you, he's a sadhu. Krishna says, sadhu reva samantavya bhajate mam dirdavrata. He's worshipping me. Sadhu, always worshipping Krishna. Worshipping according to Veda. And when he speaks, he preaches, he'll be speaking from Veda. Sadhu means sadhu because he follows Veda. We cannot call someone sadhu if he's not following Veda. Simply change of dress cannot be called a sadhu. Simply someone fitting the description or appending a name of Swami or Sadhu, Goswami, that is not the qualification. The qualification is he's presenting Shastra. Vedanta Sutta says Shastra Yonitvat. Shastra is the center. Yonitvat. It's the source and center of everything. Sadhu is sadhu because he follows Shastra. Guru is a guru because he's teaching Shastra to other people. So only because of that he's known as a guru. If someone is speaking contrary to Shastra, that is called Vikarma. Vikarma is not bhakti. Akarma is bhakti. So if someone doesn't speak or follow Shastra, that is Vikarma. We must follow Shastra. And the person then is a sadhu. Then that is not a Goswami. Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 17, it's known as divisions of faith. So there it's given in text 15 that around those texts they speak about speech. Speech in the mode of goodness, passion, ignorance. So what is proper speech, faculty of speech? According to Shastra, so Prabhupada writes in this verse where he says, Anudvega karam vakyam satyam priyam hitam chayat svabhavyayabhyasanam chaiva van mayam tapa uchyate. Austerity of speech. That means that everyone has a tongue. He can speak anything nonsense. But austerity of speech means he's going to regulate his speech. Okay, what does it mean? Austerity of speech consists in speaking words which are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, not agitating to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic literature. So what does Prabhupada write about this? Many other things are there, but one should not talk nonsense. The process of speaking in spiritual circles is to say something upheld by scripture. Whatever I say should be from Shastra. One should at once quote from scriptural authority to back up what he's saying. At the same time, such talk should be very pleasurable to the ear. By such discussions, one may derive highest benefit and elevate human society. There's a limitless stock of Vedic literature. One should study this. It's called penance of speech. So here, the system is to speak from Shastra. This is given in Bhagavad Gita. That is the purport of this text in Gita. So now, how many so-called Babas, Swamis we know today, Anandas and Sri Sris, and who today posing as spiritual teacher, but don't speak a word of Gita. Or if they speak, it's not according to what Purvacharyas are saying. They'll give some strange interpretation. If they're not quoting, then they are not bona fide shelter. They are not sadhus. They should not be taken shelter of. People quote, for example, so many of them are there. Time is so many are there, and they cannot be accepted as sadhus unless they're quoting Gita, speaking from Gita, Bhagavatam. Then that is Guru. So we should not be fooled who to accept as spiritual guide. They should be in a parampara. They should have heard from a parampara. They should be speaking on Gita, Bhagavatam. Not material advancement, spiritual advancement. Okay, so proper conduct. The dress does not make the sadhu. Proper conduct, knowledge of Shastra. He should sit on Vyasasana and speak the knowledge of Vyasadeva, whatever Vyas had compiled. Srila Prabhupada says in the purport regarding Vedic knowledge that the Goswami sits and speaks about. He says, first of all, Acharya should be well acquainted with literatures of Gita, Bhagavatam, and Itihasani, Ramayana and Mahabharata also. Puranani, Itihasani cha. Okay, and so he must be acquainted with them. To hear and explain them is more important than reading, he's saying. Okay, it doesn't mean we shouldn't read. We should read. Reading is also Shravanam. But as explained within Gita and within Bhagavatam, this should be propagated. People should speak it, should tell other people. Whole Bhagavatam is people, Krishna is there, but so many other people are speaking about Krishna. And they got purified. It said out of the Navavida Bhakti, through Kirtanam, Shukadev Goswami became purified. So the whole Bhagavatam, Gita is Krishna speaking, but Bhagavad is supposed to be a higher literature. That's not spoken by Krishna only. So many others spoke it. We are meant to speak this literature. We hear it and speak it. Sadhu will be speaking. A devotee speaks, preaches it. So hearing and explaining is more important than reading. As we said, not that we don't read, we read. But read and we also hear and speak. And when we hear and speak, then what you read becomes realized. Realization comes through preaching. Because we try to show our mind, we're trying to know how to present it. So for that you have to understand it and present in a certain way according to the audience. And so in that way, it is properly, realization is given by Paramatma to understand the subject matter, so we can present it. And that realization comes through preaching. Unless by some exceptional case, Krishna gives realization, just like that, awards it, Kripa Siddhi, out of mercy, not out of our own endeavor. He himself just awards that realization. Otherwise, generally speaking, it says that assimilation, one can assimilate the knowledge of the revealed scripture by hearing and explaining. How will I understand Bhagavatam? We meet people, they read a lot, they read so much, but so many times or so deeply, but you meet someone, he didn't read so much, but he has much more realization. Realization is important. We have to understand the knowledge. So there are people who simply read, and they'll not associate, not preach, not do book distribution, then they'll not get that meaning. Actually, we have to get the import, that's how we get liberated. Tasya hi katitartha prakashante mahatmana. Implicit faith in Guru and Krishna gives the realization. The realization is what is needed. So the assimilation of this knowledge comes through hearing and preaching, and Shravan and Kirtan. Also, if one is going to do Kirtan, speak, then you have to have heard. One does not even get inclined to do Kirtan or preach unless he heard properly. Preaching is a prerogative of Madhyama Adhikari, the intermediate devotee, not the beginning devotee. Kanishta Adhikari is the beginning devotee. He doesn't understand Shastra much, but he has some sentiment for God. But Madhyama Adhikari, the middle level devotee, he understands Shastra and can delineate his position as a Vaishnav based on Shastra. So that knowledge of Shastra, if someone hears Shastra properly, result is Kirtanam. Proper understanding, proper hearing, the result is now, I have to speak, I have to glorify, I have to do that. And if inclination for Kirtanam is not there, for preaching, for book distribution, or anyhow participating in preaching of this movement, that means that person did not properly understand the Gita. He didn't understand it. Because someone like Narad Muni, who had understanding, is traveling all over the world preaching, not world, universe. Not universe, even Vaikuntha. He goes everywhere. So the proper hearing means then he'll want to do Kirtanam, he'll want to chant it and spread glories. Kirtanam means glorification of God. He'll want to do that. So Shravanam and Kirtanam. So without Shravanam, there cannot be Kirtanam. And one has done Shravan properly, then he'll want to do Kirtan. So both of them are hand in hand. They come together. Even chanting, our chanting improves by preaching, chanting improves by hearing, and reading is also hearing. So the two processes, Shravan and Kirtan, are of primary importance to progressive spiritual life, Prabhupada writes. Only one who has properly grasped transcendental knowledge from the right source by submissive hearing can properly explain the subject. So we actually in Kali Yuga, now this level of realization, we are not on that level actually speaking, but on the order of Sri Guru, we've been told to take the Vyasasana and speak and represent. Even though we are not on that level, we know that, Kali Yuga. Who's on that level? Who's on level to take Diksha? Who's on level to chant? No one is. But two things are there. One is that it's in emergency. Everyone is needed. Some people are needed to broadcast that knowledge. And those who are supposed to broadcast are not. They're incognizant. Or they're in Accenture. What else? What else is there? All of them. TCS. They are there. So someone has to broadcast. So that is the point. That now, if you see this, is everyone free from this 100%, then they should not be. Then nothing will happen. No one will be preached. So on authority of Guru, one takes the position, but they must be endeavoring to be free from that. But second thing is, it's order of Guru, you do it. It's not that, I'm qualified, I'm not qualified, I'll not speak, I cannot. Order of Sri Guru is speak, then you speak. So the knowledge has to go around, it has to be spoken. Okay, but at least if one reads Gita and Bhagavatam, even in the beginning, we get the meaning. We are able to get a Vedic import to Gita, to Bhagavatam. But for preaching, we have to know Mahabharata, Ramayana, we have to know all of these. Because one thing about Ramayana is that it establishes culture very nicely. Now in ISKCON, there's someone who is systematically translating Ramayana in verse by verse. So it's being propagated and welcomed a lot by preachers within ISKCON, even sannyasis. Even though we are not, generally speaking, we speak on Krishna Katha, Krishna Shastras, Bhagavatam, Gita. But so why is Ramayana now being so well received? But one reason was because the Varnashram Dharma is so nicely explained in Ramayana. Very nicely detailed explained. Duty of the wife, husband, woman, man, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Duty of the elder brother, younger brother. All of these roles which we have to emulate and we have to take up again. So this is so nicely given in Ramayana, even Mahabharata, but Ramayana. And so that it's being nicely encouraged to be spread. And Prabhupada wrote here, Ramayana and Mahabharata are parts of the Vedas. So they should also be known. So here, in this verse, Suta Goswami, he fulfilled these conditions. Because he fulfilled the conditions, all the sages seated, they gave him an elevated seat. They said, you speak, they told him. You speak. Sages said, respected Suta Goswami, you are completely free from vice. You are well versed in all the scriptures, famous for religious life. Not that scriptures of Ayurveda, Vastu, Jyotish, but scriptures famous for religious life, Dharma Shastrani, and in the Puranas and histories. And as well as that you have gone through them under proper guidance. You have heard from authority, not from YouTube, but from a proper guru. Or YouTube is okay if the person speaking is in a representative. But we shouldn't find Krishna on internet. We're looking at Krishna, why he left, why, and then we start searching other sides of Krishna. We can be poisoned. But it should be from a source of someone who himself heard, from an authority, and then he can present. So in that way, Suta Goswami is qualified. So the rishis told Suta, you speak on that matter. And Prabhupada is saying, one should be on that same level to speak and represent Vyasa as Suta did. Hare Krishna. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
We say to people that Varna is according to Guna and Karma, but you mentioned towards the start of the lecture that Brahmana can become Kshatriya or Vaishya, but shouldn't become a Shudra. So how to reconcile, as it should be according to his inclination, right?
Yeah. No, so this is what I said. I said that, Brahmana is the Brahmatvam, the quality of Brahmana, it comes by Guna Karma. It is the Guna is there, actually even sometime in Jyotish it shows. Okay? Or Karma, that the works that they like, they incline to study and read, this makes him be qualified or be suited to take up the vritti of a Brahmana, the duties and role. Okay? Yes. But then I said, in emergency situation, The Brahmana can take other vrittis. I'll give you an example. If there are many Brahmanas and they're under attack, they'll call Kshatriyas to defend. But it's given in Mahabharata that if there's no Kshatriya present, Brahmana can take up the role and kill. They can. In that way, I said, their duty is to do the duties of a Brahmana according to their guna karma. But in an emergency, they'll take another duty. They have to take another. They can take another varna. Is that clear?
No, the specific of that they can't become a Shudra because someone.
Oh, why they cannot become a Shudra? Okay.
So it might cause confusion.
Okay.
Someone hearing you.
Yeah. Now the quality of a Shudra is that he works for other people. What is look at Shudra's quality? One is he cannot survive on his own. He works for other people. Two is that not at all inclined to sense gratification. To spiritual realization. Three, these four vices we said, they're in the Shudra community and they're not heavily restricted. It's not possible, the four vices. So, now if you take a Brahmana, he's going to take up these things, then there's no question. He cannot come back. How can he be a Brahmana? But whereas temporarily he may be Vaishya or Kshatriya, but if he gives up his inclination for self-realization, if he begins to do the four vices which are restricted, then no astikyam, no religiosity can come from that. So at any cost they should not do that. And by the way, as you may know or not know, that in Kali Yuga everyone is a Shudra according to Shastra. Kalau Shudra Sambhava. And so these, whatever I just said, is everyone is having this quality. They're working, they cannot survive on their own. They must get a job. They cannot on their own say that I'll survive because there's a supreme God, I am dependent on him. And also they're addicted to four vices: illicit connection with women, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling. Okay, and what else? Not averse to spiritual realization. They are not at all inclined for that. Yeah.
Quoting from the book. Satyashree Prabhu from on Zoom gave a quote, long quote about to hear and explain them is more important than reading. That's
basically he's representing the purport. Yeah, or he could just give a reference. Yes, Satya, thank you for emphasizing. You sure it's not a question at the end or something?
No, it's not.
Okay. That's it? Okay. Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai.